Ever since I was a wee lad, I've been fascinated by business. My first venture was selling my family's chicken eggs and then running a lawn care business with my brother. Even all the way back then, I always knew I wanted to have my own real business. But of course, life took me into engineering. Fast forward a bit, I've been out of school now for about 2 to 4 years and have gotten some solid experience under my belt. And I figured it was finally the right time to chase that dream. So I started looking into how to start a CNC plasma cutting business. And to my surprise, there was little to no information on how to actually get started. So that's why I'm making this video. For anyone else in the same boat wondering, how do I even begin? Well, this is exactly what I did to get this business up and running. Let me tell you, the biggest mental hurdle I had was for me to actually file the LLC. Because once you file, there's no turning back. And that was something that actually scared me. It's official. You're in. There's no more just thinking about it. So I sat on this idea for months debating whether or not I should actually file or not. Honestly, sometimes I would just sit at the computer screen with the LLC filing page open, all the information filled out, and I was just sitting here hovering over the enter button to click everything to go. It was just nerve-wracking for those first few months. I started to wonder, what if I fail? But here's the thing. Waiting doesn't actually help. It just pushes off the problem. And I know a lot of times some people avoid doing things because they're scared of what might happen or what might not happen. But for me, I couldn't just wait around any longer. I just had to jump right in. So if you're serious about starting your business, eventually you're just going to have to take that leap. Before I filed, what kind of helped me take that leap was playing it safe for a little bit. I tested the waters by doing small cash projects for friends and family. And while I was doing that, I started documenting everything on YouTube. I always wanted to do this because one day, if I ever made it, I think it would be really cool to look back and see where I started. But what I didn't count on was those YouTube videos actually picking up a bit. That's when things really started moving. Once I started getting closer to YouTube's monetization program, that's when I made my final decision. I thought, all right, if I'm gonna be making a little bit of money off of this, I might as well take that and file it back into the business to help me jumpstart everything. It was the final push I needed to take the leap and start my CNC plasma cutting business. Now, I know getting monetized on YouTube, especially just beginning and starting out, you're not making a whole ton of money. Well, I mean, except for me, I'm making, like $5 that's going into it. I wanted to just get some good practice on really nailing down my finances. So this was a good learning opportunity for me to get started. So right off the bat, after deciding that I wanted to start the business and I was ready, I just needed to know what to do. So I started asking around friends, family, other small business owners that were acquaintances, and I tried to get as much information from them as possible. But, of course, everybody had their own opinions. Some people said you could file it yourself. Some people said you should hire a lawyer. But I just wanted it done the quickest, fastest, easiest way possible. And that's where today's video sponsor comes in. I'm kidding. You think I got a sponsorship? But to be honest and serious, since I didn't really know what I was doing, I was looking for a service that would just do it for me. And that's where I found Busy, or previously known as InkFile, when I started looking. They offer a service that handles all the heavy lifting and paperwork for you. So when I went through Busy, they pretty much handled everything for me. I'm talking about getting my EIN number, making sure my business is compliant, articles of incorporation. They'd even give me my business bank account if I wanted it, but we'll get to that later. It was just a nice one-stop shop that made it hassle-free for me. So while Busy was doing all the grunt work in the background, I decided it was time to get started. So I officially drew up the plans for my CNC plasma cutter. Maybe I could have just bought one outright, which, if you've seen the last video, that's where I'm kind of leaning towards, where I probably should have went in the first place. But at the time, it made sense to build because honestly, I couldn't fork out that amount of cash up front. So let me tell you, this thing wasn't super easy to build. It took a lot of trial, error, late nights, and some struggles, but that's all part of the process, right? And during that whole process, I made sure to document all of that and upload those videos to YouTube. And to my surprise, those videos are actually performing very well. Those videos did so well, in fact, that it pushed me over the hump for YouTube monetization program. That's right, now we are officially part of the YouTube partner program. So now, this is where things got real. Because I ended up joining that program, now I need somewhere to funnel all of that income. All of those millions of dollars. Enter the business bank account. When I was going around asking everyone their opinion on filing for an LLC, the one thing they all had in common was that I needed to keep my finances separate. So that's exactly what I did. I went to my local bank and gave them all the required documents that Busy provided me. And just like that, I opened up my first business bank account. At this point, I was excited as I've ever been. Everything was starting to fall into place. But I forgot something. Taxes. I wasn't in super deep trouble yet because I hadn't really generated any sales. So I had a little bit of time to figure that part out. So here's a little bit about what I found. Since I'm in Wisconsin, I found that I needed to apply for a sales tax permit. That way I can legally withhold taxes on my transactions. You can pay Busy to do this as well, but it looks like they would have ended up charging me around $100. But when I went to apply through the actual government website, it only took me like 10-15 minutes and about $25. So definitely worth it, in my opinion, to go do it yourself. Now, just because I can take taxes out doesn't necessarily mean that I know what I'm doing when it comes to taxes. I have yet to sit down with a CPA or an accountant and discuss all of the important bits. But soon I will be doing that. But for now, all I'm going to be doing is withholding all of those taxes on each sale I make. And also for my first year, I don't want to pay myself anything. I'm not sure if that's a good idea or not, but I figured if I don't pay myself anything, then I'll for sure have enough money at the end of the year to pay off the taxes I owe. I'm just taking this part really conservative because at the end of the year, I'm not sure what kind of boat I'm going to be in, and I really don't want to have to pay a ton of money back. This is all a huge learning process for me, so I'm going to tread as carefully as I can. Going off taxes, my biggest place of business right now is pretty much my Squarespace website. And that's where today's video sponsor,
Bro, you really thought?
maybe one day. But on a serious note, I just use these guys because this is really the first website that I've ever made. And as far as I know, they've been a really great tool for me. With my Squarespace website, I'm able to use this plugin called TaxJar. I just have the most basic plan with TaxJar. And what they actually do is withhold all the applicable taxes, so I don't have to manually calculate those out myself. On one of my most recent transactions, they actually took out the state, the county, and the city tax. I didn't even know there was that many. So I can rest assured that I don't need to worry about any of that. And looking into the future, I believe with some of the more advanced plans, they will actually file my taxes for me. But I'm way far away from having to do anything with that. And that's pretty much where I'm at today. I have a few products up for sale on my website, but I do a lot of my business in person. I'm talking Facebook Marketplace and Nextdoor app mostly. But I utilize Squarespace for all of my transactions because I can send invoices and bill customers directly. It also helps me to keep all of my finances in one place. And that's it, guys. That's where I'm at now. I'm not entirely sure if I'm doing everything correctly, but since it's my first time doing it, I figured I'll just try to learn as much as possible along the way. So thanks for sticking around, thanks for watching, and see you next time.